Not really focused, is it? Yeah, up on the right placement.
You breathe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's not any water or anything.
I would love some more water.
Yeah.
Please. Thank you.
Can we refill that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, pick a lid off, because I'd be sitting decent time. Keep you on the same door. What's nice and cold. Thank you.
Of course.
Careful not to knock over the camera in the back of the.
Yeah.
Hello again. Heidi, this is my wife Claire. Heidi.
Nice to meet you. I recognized you from some photos.
Oh, wonderful to be here.
Or Dad, I have her.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
Words.
Did you know, what the person's name is at the office?
Yes, the husband's name is Rob. And the wife's name I had earlier, I can pull it up very quickly. In my notes.
No, it starts with a K.
In-
If it is just them two join, then it should be a pretty straightforward meeting since everyone has given their public comment. But if it's more than that, then we'll hear those who haven't given public comment yet. Sorry.
Yeah, I think. It might be Karen.
Okay.
So I think you're right, I think just start with the K. Kim,
Kim.
what's her name? Yes, it is, Rob and Kim. Right. And it's the same Zoom link as previously, right? Yeah. I was gonna say she sounds like a Karen. Well, it is recording. It's a meeting, sorry, you're recording. Hi, Julia. So good to see you. Oh, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I have to say, I can see. Hello. Hi, I'm Linda. I'm Heidi. Nice to meet you. Yes, I was recognize from all the pictures.
Linda is. So in the bottom. She watched Jason.
Yeah, we just had a little dog at the shelter named Jace, so I've been thinking about you this week. They actually, there was some similarities and his, they looked. Yeah, my girl is 11 now. Going on to.
Yes.
Yes.
Kelby next, right?
Can be border collies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yes.
That will energize bunny. But.
Yes. And yeah, the Zoom meeting is already up and recording. Good, so. Got started early supposed to be started late this morning.
For meetings like this.
Yes.
It's a rarity. But
Yes.
welcome.
Yes. Recognize all those names. Thank you.
Losing your adventure here.
This morning, they were saying that they might not be able to attend, but or at least one of them might not be able to. There were 3 people who attended in person this morning and 1 person attended by Zoom, all from the same company.
That's your
They're a neighbor, yeah. So here's a map of the facility, I'm the one that's pink.
Okay,
And they are in B, I think they merged B and A into one, and they're in both.
this is a ground floor location?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And the blue square is is where I'm planning on putting the dog potty area that's fenced in. And so there's a walkway here,
Uh-huh,
and then this is currently Ivy, and there's a sign here that lists the businesses, so
Okay.
the facility. Doggy facilities would be behind the sign, so partially blocked from the road and view. And yeah. For those watching,
and what kind of business are your neighbors?
I'm the pink one, and they are.
said they sell medical supplies.
Okay.
So it's also a multi-building complex. I'm
Mhm.
over here. And they have this section, and they also have a facility here. In building B.
Okay. And do they get a lot of foot traffic?
I don't know.
Medical supply? It seems like they would, I mean, the ones I've been
Yeah.
to, are
Well,
usually.
they are manufacturing somewhere else.
Mhm.
And then they are having meetings there with big, like Kaiser and big like places, and they're supplying surgical equipment.
Oh, so this
So
isn't
this
like
is-
going to.
Yeah, it's not like a
A
pharmacy
Walker or
no,
some of the durable medical
No.
equipment that
Yeah.
I'm
They-
super
Yeah,
familiar
I
with.
understand. I believe they're trying to make green, renewable surgical equipment that is safe to be sanitized repeatedly.
Okay.
And doesn't break down in the sanitizing machines, which I understand would be very difficult. So, respect, respect to that endeavor.
So,
Because if you want it to be green and renewable, then and you don't want it to break down, that's
that's a tall order.
that's hard. Yeah. So they're concerned that. They're concerned that it would look bad for their business to be next to a dog training facility. So,
You can take.
hi, Daddy.
There's a seat over
Would you
there
like
as
to
well.
stay? I can stay.
No, there's the chair over
Walking
there.
us again. Okay. It is live and recorded. But yes, good, so.
But, I mean, the bulk of your business is all indoors, correct? Inside your training
Yes.
facility, I'm sure you have a little office
With
area,
the-
reception area in
Yeah.
front, and then all of the bulk of the.
Yes.
Client dogs.
With
It's
the
gotta be a-
exception of dog potty breaks.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you've already got all that figured out.
Yes.
Is for the maximum number of dogs that you would be having in.
Yes.
a group class.
For that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
jump ahead or
It's a really nice number for it is.
yeah, well, I mean, the shelter,
And I have visuals. That I forgot.
I volunteer at Marin Humane and our classes are too.
Oh, you know, I did.
Yeah, there's six.
Six.
It's the typical numbers for almost all classes.
I see it there.
12.
Yeah.
Alright, make sure that's like is. Scooch a little away so we can hear everyone. Okay, so it looks. Like it is 7 o'clock. I'll give a couple more minutes for those who roll in. And then we will start the meeting. I recognize a lot of names in the Zoom meeting. Thank you for attending, everybody. I really appreciate the support.
case you're wondering, a Rotary Club puts on an Oktoberfest fundraiser. And I was in a Rotary business event. I did this morning. Let me change that, let me change back in.
Thank you for that.
Lots of those events happening.
It's a wonderful. Yes.
So. Okay. So it's currently 7:02.
Mhm.
So we're gonna go ahead and start the meeting. So I'll officially start by saying good afternoon, or good night. It is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. The applicant, Mary Dormandy,
Yeah.
Doherty, and I, Michaela O'Brien, the zoning administrator, are present, and the meeting is now open. Welcome to the City of Santa Fe zoning administrator hearing, October 4th, 2023. On today's agenda is a request for a conditional use permit to allow a 1,161 square foot animal care facility within an existing office building. And just so everyone online and in person is to know, the notices that were sent out did say 7, but everything else said 10 a.m. So there was a little mishap through there, but we're gonna go ahead and have Mary present her proposal. And then I'll give a quick summary of those comments that were made earlier this morning.
All right. Hello, my name is Mary Dormady, formerly Mary Stomp, but recently changed my name after getting married in April. So some of the paperwork says Stomp, some of this paperwork says Dormady. I'm the owner of Mary's Angels Dog Training. I opened Mary's Angels Dog Training in August 2017 with a dream to help as many dogs as possible stay safe and loved in their homes. If a dog is well behaved and well trained, it is less likely to end up in a shelter or stray on the streets. Dogs with training are easier to walk, quieter at home, and calmer in public. But I don't just train dogs. I train people too. I teach dog owners how to be better, more responsible dog owners. I instruct them to pick up after their dogs on walks. I help them manage passing other people without letting their dog jump on strangers. I teach them how to play with their dogs appropriately so their dogs are properly exercised. I show them where they need to keep their dogs on leash and when and where they can allow their dogs a little more freedom. Through my training program, dogs and their owners become better citizens and happier families. Since the middle of 2019, I have maintained a wait list for my dog training services. This wait list started with just 3 to 5 people, but exploded with the influx of pet dogs adopted during the 2020 quarantine. I now have a wait list of 35 people long. If I continue to see clients one at a time like I am now, it will take me 7 months to a year to get to the person currently at the end of my wait list. In order to help the most dogs most efficiently, I need to begin teaching group classes. I tried renting space in local pet stores to teach group classes, but the space was too small. And we faced too many interruptions, which was inconvenient for my clients, the staff at the store, and for the customers shopping at the store. I've tried holding group classes in public parks, only to need to cancel classes due to air quality and wildfires, rain, or somebody else's off-leash dog coming running in to harass my clients and their dogs. I came to the conclusion that I needed a training facility where I could teach classes indoors, no matter the weather, without interference from the general public. If I'm permitted to open my training facility at 41 Sims Street, I will be able to help 32 clients in the same amount of time that I would normally be able to help 6. That is an extra 26 dogs per month that will be able to walk around San Rafael, accompanying their owners at outdoor restaurants and dog-friendly stores. That's an extra 26 owners per month who will learn to be more conscientious and neighborly dog owners. Allowing Mary's Angels Dog Training Facility to open at 41 Sims Street, San Rafael will help your city, your people, and your animals flourish. Thank you for your time and consideration. I also have with me today some visual aids about how I plan to set up the inside of the facility, as well as the maps of the floor plans of my section of the facility and the neighboring businesses. To help get a idea of what the area looks like. And I'm happy to share those as well. To address comments made at the previous session, I am planning on including sound buffering on the walls that butt up against other businesses. I'm planning on having an outdoor fenced in and locked when I'm not in business dog potty area that is 6 feet by 6 feet with a 4-foot high fence. That has a substrate inside of it that is not likely to smell, easy to pick up from, and easy to turn over. And I'm planning on using cleaning products that are safe for people and dogs. And I am open to discussion on other ways that I can make my neighboring businesses more peaceful.
Thank you. And for those who were not in attendance this morning, the general concerns of some of the neighboring uses are such as smell, contamination of goods next door due to sharing current ventilation systems, noise pollution from the dogs, the outdoor relief area, and dog encounters with neighboring clients. And I believe you spoke to those as well.
Yes.
So now we will open for public comment. We will first go and do those who are in person who would like to provide any public comment, and then after we will go to those who are on Zoom. And if you are on Zoom, feel free to raise your hand if you would like to provide public comment. Anyone? Yeah.
I'll say something. So, my name's David Stump. I'm Mary's father. Known her all her life. We did dog training together when we had dogs, and she was very eager to come along and join me with that. And training learned it's very important to have dogs that are well behaved. Otherwise, you open up a car door and they run out and probably bad things happen. I'm a farmer's insurance agent. I learned that the most common homeowner's liability claim is dog bite. Farmers commercial about that yet. Dogs hanging off his sleeves and stuff. So people get dogs and they don't know how to train the dogs, or how to some of these things, and dogs will run out down the street and chase people, chase kids or whatever. So education, I believe we can all agree, is very important, and it's a good investment. So the more humans that we have that are well trained, taking care of dogs and working with dogs and knowing what's not right, maybe helping other people out, handing out business cards, and go to the Marine Humane Society or Mary's Angels or wherever and get training. It's really important. So that's my 2 things.
Thank you.
Now, I wanted to bring up something that I didn't bring up this morning because I didn't have enough coffee in me. But right now, the dog training industry is extremely unregulated. There are people up in Petaluma who advertise these board and train places, which are really just their houses. And they slap a pinch collar on a dog and call it a day, basically. There are so many abusive ways of training a dog, or not. Basically, anybody can go out there and say that they are a dog trainer just because they watched a bunch of Cesar Millan. And so I feel that a facility being opened by a UC Davis graduate in animal behavior, as well as a Karen Pryor, which is the top-notch dog training school. You are certified and you know what you're doing, animal behavior, and you are an ethically trained dog trainer, and we really need more of that. We need as much of that as we can get, because right now, just take social media. If you go onto TikTok, there are people who claim to be dog trainers and they have giant audiences who want to parent them, and all they do is yank a dog around by its neck. So honestly, that's just what I want to say. We really need facilities with people who know what they're doing, and this would be a giant boon to Marin County.
Thank you. Thank you. And anyone else?
Pardon me, something really brief, which is that, this county is very lucky to have the Humane Society facilities and the funding for them that they have. But they are very overtaxed. I work for the county, and when we have to work with the Humane Society, they're very understaffed, they're very busy. So even with all those resources, anything that can be done to help support them, taking things off of their plate by working with families who can access other places to train their animals, is a huge benefit to everyone that works there, as well as to people who live in this county.
I can confirm that. I'm a longtime volunteer at Marin Humane, and among the various things I've done there through the years, I have been a dog training assistant. So I've witnessed firsthand how the classes are held there. There's usually at least 6 dogs. So Mary's goal of keeping her class at 4 is even better. But I can assure you that professional dog trainers such as Mary do not allow dogs to misbehave in class. And so I would not expect there to be exorbitant noise coming from Mary's classes, especially since she's going to be installing some noise canceling type of structure, equipment, or insulation, or
On the walls, yeah.
on the walls. But as it's been said, we need more positive reinforcement trainers. And I know from working there for so many, or volunteering there for so many years, they are pressed for staff. And we do actually send people to refer some of the adopters to outside agencies, and we have to actually bring in some outside trainers. There's a woman who comes almost every week to work with some of the more challenging adoptable dogs. So we need more people who are doing positive reinforcement training instead of the scenarios that Heidi described. And I can assure you, after knowing Mary a few years, that she is a consummate dog professional.
Thank you.
And I know that her business will be run in the safest and most secure manner for everyone involved, the client, the dog, and her neighbors.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna go to those who are over Zoom. It looks like Michelle had her hand up first, so we're gonna go to Michelle first, and then let's see. Michelle, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you. And thanks for giving me another opportunity. For those of you that didn't hear what I had to say last time, I just wanted to reiterate what Heidi and Linda and Mary's dad and Claire have all said about Mary being remarkable, remarkably skilled, remarkably compassionate with people and dogs. And I wanted to revisit a few of the comments that her neighboring businesses mentioned this morning in protest to Mary's potential business there. And I just wanted to speak to those a little bit. So one of their biggest objections was that having dogs nearby would be dirty and would present problems for the products that they're trying to produce. She was also concerned that being near a dog training facility would give the wrong impression, in her words, to the people that were coming through to observe her business. And I just wanted to say to that her location is literally right in between 2 major freeways. And so if she's concerned about particulates, her office in general is positioned very poorly to set up a clean environment. She's also less than a 2-minute drive from Marin Sanitary District, where that's for those of you who aren't familiar, as you probably are because you're local, but it, is like a landfill, and people are dumping garbage and hazardous waste and all kinds of other things, paint and et cetera, food waste, et cetera, like that. And it's fragrant and you can smell it from quite a distance away. Again, all of those things are presenting a lot of particulates. Also, these people have said that in the past, they've had issues with particulates on their products. They also talked about how they carry them outside from building to building between their two offices. So I feel like, and she was complaining mainly that she was going to have to change her business practices. And I posit that she needs to change her business practices already, whether Mary's there or not, because she is exposing her products to particulates from the air pollution, from the sanitary district, from all the trucks, from all of the buildings and development that are going on in the neighborhood where she chose to have her business. So I am sorry that she's worried and frustrated that Mary is going to be there. And I feel that if she is worried that there's going to be other particulates in the area, that she might want to consider setting up better safety protocols for her own products and not trying to blame Mary for the future downfall of her business, which she heavily invested in. So I just wanted to speak to that. I think that Mary is one of the most thoughtful, loving, amazing people that I know. And I'm, oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I can't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm proud to call her my friend. And I think that anybody who could work with her will benefit, including the city as a whole. And I believe that just like what Linda was saying, and Heidi too, there is a lack of amazing skilled people in the area, and having Mary there as a resource, along with Kirsten, who was there earlier this morning, we all work together, we all support each other. And I think that we can help grow a bigger community of positive reinforcement trainers. And I think what Mary is trying to do is the first step of that. So thank you again for listening to me. I'm sorry, I just got emotional. I'm going to go wipe my tears, but thanks for letting me talk again.
Thank you, Michelle. We're gonna do Brad next.
There we go. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So my name is Brad Stomp. I've known Mary her whole life, and I've watched her business, and from the day she started it, grow very quickly. And she has handled this very professionally. She has demonstrated that there is a large demand for her service in Marin County. And Marin County is a dog county in general. And I think the history shows that as to how much support there is for dogs on the beaches anytime the county or the state or the federal beaches talk about closing beaches to dogs. There's huge pushback. People want their dogs in restaurants, etc. There is a lot of dogs in this county, a lot of demand. So what I'd really like to do is address the business end of this from the city's perspective, that if they're worried about a business that may not make it, that's something that I would like to speak to, that this will make it. Her business has grown very quickly, and she has handled it very professionally. She is really good at what she does, and there's a huge, huge market for it. So this would be a big plus for the city of San Rafael to have this type of service operating in San Rafael. It really makes San Rafael look good. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank
And
you.
Kirsten, we're gonna have you go next.
Hi, good to see you all again. I spoke this morning about the need for education because I work with aggressive dogs, and I hope that Mary puts me out of a job, because so much of what I do is cleaning up what should have been done when they were puppies. And I can't speak enough about the need for educating people in Marin. And they will come to San Rafael, and they will come to San Rafael from the East Bay and from the city, because there just are not facilities like this. And they will be buying coffee, and they will go to Target, and they will give San Rafael a lot of business. But mostly I'm just excited about the fact that they will take care of all of the aggressive dogs and prevent that from happening. Second point, there was a lot of discussion about particulates this morning, and I actually contacted an environmental lawyer in terms of dog contributions to particulates, and it's almost none. It's very interesting. The top 5 particulates come from construction sites, freeways, garbage dumps. So it's already hit by 3. And then various chemicals produced from either cleaning products or off gases. Dogs wasn't even on the EPA's list on their website. I can't screen share or I'd show it to you. If we are worried about dogs contaminating products, I think we need to examine what is being produced, since she said several times it was contaminating it could contaminate their products, but they actually don't produce anything, which is very confusing. They're making samples, but there's no production. I think it's irrelevant. I don't think dog hair going through an air vent is going to wreck someone's product. So in terms of any kind of contamination, I think maybe she has an argument with fecal matter and urine, and Mary has a plan for that. And if it is so offensive, she's so worried about people seeing a dog go to the bathroom off the street, perhaps there could be a privacy screen or something easy like that. Mary's very thoughtful and creative and really wants to make the best facility for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're gonna move on to Emma.
Okay. You can hear me. Just
Yes.
want to make sure I haven't done it this way before. And I'm actually sitting at a campsite. So I just wanted to make sure you can continue to hear me because I'm on sort of a wired in Wi-Fi. I am a dog trainer, work closely with Kirsten. And I just wanted to be here to support Mary. We don't know each other very well, but I know she's very well respected within our industry. And I think this facility would be so awesome for San Rafael. Marin Humane does reach out to Southern Marin and has classes at facilities and different areas down in Southern Marin and of course Northern Marin, but I feel like San Rafael isn't covered. And I think it would just be a wonderful thing for the city to have her there. Classes in general, I wasn't there this morning because I'm on vacation, so I missed this morning. But I can say from teaching classes at Marin for many years is the noise isn't there that much. There may be a dog or two that might make some sounds when they arrive, but a well set up class, which I'm sure Mary will have in place. I don't think you'll have any noise from the classes per se. And I'm sure she'll also set up a system where they come into her building in a very respectful way to all the businesses around there. So I just want to say I support her. We've had all of us that do dog training know that since COVID hit, the amount of dogs in the area has multiplied. And we want to make sure that those dogs are out there in a wonderful way with their families. And this is a way to do it. And to have dogs out there that have learned great things from an early age. And again, I just want to say that I'm here to support her as a fellow trainer, and I hope to see it all come to see it all when it starts off. So I'm hoping for the best tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. And Travis?
But before we go to the next person, I do want to make a quick clarifying statement from what Kirsten said before Emma. She said that I would put her out of business with aggressive dogs. I want to make it clear that I do not work with aggressive dogs. What she's meaning is that there is a stretch of time when dogs are young where you can prevent aggression through training. And by teaching group puppy classes, that I would be able to prevent aggressive dogs from becoming aggressive in the first place. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm not planning on having 4 aggressive dogs in a small building together. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
And Travis, you're gonna be next.
Hi, I have known Mary for quite a few years now, and I'm not a dog training professional or anything. I'm just a friend of Mary's. But anyone that knows me knows that I have my two animals, and I won't let my family watch my animals. I won't let my fiance's family watch my animals. I will not board them. The only person that is allowed to watch my animals when I go anywhere is Mary. And she's the only person that I will trust with them. And that same trust, I think, in my mind, goes to how she would handle her business. I have 150,000% faith that any rules or regulations or niceties or anything she could do to make it work with her neighbors or make it work for the community, Mary will do in the forefront. And I say that just like as much faith as I can possibly put forward. And I just wanted to put that out there that just as a person that, you know, is around, I would only trust Mary with my animals, and I would only trust Mary with a training business with my animals. And I think San Rafael would be lucky to have her.
Thank you.
And next is gonna be Sherry.
Okay, hi, can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, I am Sherry Stomp. I am Mary's mom. One thing I wanted to point out that Mary has now brought up this morning and this evening is Mary knows where her strengths are. And she wants to help the animals of Marin County, but she also knows and has people in her corner, such as, I think it was Kirsten, that is the aggressive dog trainer, that when Mary meets dogs that need special situations, she refers them out. She doesn't try to take them on. And then this morning she mentioned that she still wants to continue training in people's homes because not all dogs are prepared to go to a class situation. So Mary is a type of trainer that's going to be aware of who she's having brought to this facility. Granted, dogs are going to be dogs and nobody is perfect, human or dog. But for the most part, she is there to help, and she's going to be having family dogs in there to teach basic obedience things. And again, knows her strengths and knows when to suggest they see another trainer. She's not trying to hog the training systems or anything. She certainly knows when to refer people to Kirsten, I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, or to Michelle, who spoke earlier. That's just something I wanted to point out, was the dogs that'll be coming there will be dogs that are prepared to be there, or Mary will make sure then that a situation is different for them so that they don't have to come to that situation if they're not prepared.
Thank you. And next is gonna be Kimberly.
I think she's still muted on her end. Oh, there we go.
I had to find the unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So I appreciate so much hearing everybody, and I agree 100% with all of the, character references to Mary. I only met with her for 1 hour, and I felt very, very close to her and talked to both my teams about how, can we make this work? What do you think? So I understand that. But this really isn't about Mary, and it really isn't about the need for a dog facility when I think there are other facilities. This is about New Gen Surgical. We have been a San Rafael business employing people for 13 years, and we are the next door neighbor. So I was just taking into consideration what are some of the impacts, and that came from my team, because after meeting Mary, you have all known her for longer, and I feel, the same way. And I feel a little attacked by Michelle, having done research on particulate and this, that, and the other thing, which we've been doing this for 13 years. And of course, I know everything that you said, and that wasn't the only thing I said this morning. And I think I've been very supportive in any of my language and speaking to the team. So I would hope that you all know that I am here just because of my business. not against Mary, not against the need for dog training, or any of that. I'm not a negative person. We're both trying to do good in the world. What is the impact on my business? So we took the time today. We saw Mary taking the time, taking pictures and all sorts of things today as well. So we looked at the front. So people coming to meetings, here's the big New Gen Surgical sign. And right behind that would be the dog walking and dog outside
Elimination.
bathroom area. You know, not a great look. I mean, we're a business, but I think that the co-founder brought up a really good point in that it isn't separate buildings, like we're all sharing the same building, the same roof, the same air, the ventilation. There are many other things other than particulate that I brought up. And the other thing we did was, again, because we're trying to see, can we make this work? We're not looking at like, how do we not make this work? So then we thought, okay, well, where you're having 4 dogs every hour on Tuesdays and Sundays, which we would have put in that contract that only dogs would be there Tuesdays and Sundays from the 1 to 7 o'clock hour that you said. So 4 dogs every hour, so 20 dogs coming in and out of people parking in their cars and walking up the sidewalk. So how many times do we walk up and down that sidewalk? Because we have 2 offices at that address. One is our engineering office. And Michelle, you're right, we don't produce products at that site. What we do is produce prototypes and put together sample packs for healthcare systems. So where would all of that be? And is there a better place than right in front of our offices and our signage to have the outdoor area? So the things that I brought up this morning are the things I'm bringing up tonight. And I only joined the call because I can hear on the other, someone else is on the call from the company, Rob. And this isn't about how wonderful Mary is. I agree with you. This isn't about how much we need a dog training facility, but why this is about in this space. And that's the usage rule that we're looking at. And if it affects other businesses, that's what this is about. Because we can all agree, including myself, who only met Mary for 1 hour, that this, you know, everything she says, I completely trust. And I think she's a super wonderful woman. I think what she's doing and all of you are doing is something that we need and is important. But the question is it important to have it here? And really, I should have taken it up with my landlord. This shouldn't even have come up as a possibility. It's just not the space for it. The outdoor space isn't even right for it, or the sidewalks. Where the people are going to park, you're going to be walking by Esson's business, who does all his business open air. He does upholstery, very high-end upholstery. We're talking to him. I don't know if he's on this call. So we came at this from, can we make it work, especially after meeting Mary? But we are a business in San Rafael. We do bring business. I think someone mentioned they're going to be getting coffee. They're going to Target. You know, we employ anywhere between 7 and 15 people, depending on the year. COVID, you know, affected our business a great deal. And we've been renting and living, renting in San Rafael at the spot for 13 years. So, you know, I don't know if this is the only space that you could find, because there seems to be a lot of retrofitting that needs to happen. And I think that's just what I wanted to say. And I just joined the call because this really isn't about how I can change my business to make this work, which I really felt, unfortunately, attacked on at the beginning of this call. This really is about, does this business belong in this one building with shared, it's a shared building, but also how would it work? And if it does work, we would definitely put in the Tuesday and Sunday clause, which is from 1 to 7. There would only be dogs there on Tuesdays and Sundays. And so I think that's all I have to say. And I thank you for letting me talk again, because I know I talked this morning. And I'm sorry if I put or offended anybody off with any of my commentary. We have a lot invested in this business, and I do get passionate and emotional about it, just like all of you do about your businesses. We have a lot in this, and we do have very high expectations for major growth. 23 and 24 are major growth years. Like I said, we have people coming on Friday from all over the country, the largest healthcare systems coming to meetings. And I just was trying to picture, how is it going to be if they're walking in, you know, and also dogs, and, you know, I mean, because we are, like I said, a product developer for the OR. So that's a certain type of business. And we know where we are. We know that we're near Marin Sanitary, and we know all our neighbors. We know even the people at Marin Sanitary, because we talk about how to get rid of plastic. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we're gonna have Amber.
Can we turn back on the light that went out? I just feel like it'll be better with the Zoom thing.
We're not on camera, are we? Oh my God. I hope not.
Hi,
Thank you.
let me know if you can hear me. I'm on my phone.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, my name is Amber. I've also known Mary since about the 6th grade, so far too long now. But I am sort of coming at this trying to understand from the point of view of someone who was in the dental manufacturing field for quite a few years. So not quite the same field as medical production, but sister fields. And especially a company that is interested in green and renewable resourcing for their medical products. And I'm not sure if I understand what the concern is around not having the correct look for being associated with something with dogs, because as far as I have experienced with the dental field, we've only been helped by being associated with people who are interested in growing the community and growing not just one certain strata of the community, but the entire community and whatever their interests may be. I also grew up in Novato and San Rafael around this area. I know it's a very dog friendly, very pet friendly area, and that's part of being part of this community, as I'm sure we all are aware, having been here. So I'm just not sure if I understand what the concern is there beyond obviously things like smell or animals being in the way, which it sounds like is something which would be manageable if it was reduced hours or days, as you have been discussing, or having a plan in place for soundproofing, for smell control, for sanitary concerns. So I'm just giving my 2 cents on how this doesn't seem like 2 incompatible businesses as far as I can see it, because as we can see, Mary is very, very capable of bringing together all kinds of people from a very supportive community who recognize the need for what she's doing and the passion and compassion she brings to her job and to, frankly, all walks of life. So I'm finding myself struggling to understand how this seems like an incompatibility, especially given, again, there are so many diverse kinds of businesses around this one business. So that's just my 2 cents of, I don't see this as an incompatibility. I see this as an opportunity to grow and reach out to other parts of this community, other parts of San Rafael and Marin County and nearby counties, as well as this seems like an ideal location to me for people who are traveling via freeway, if via public transportation. There's a train line coming right nearby. This doesn't seem like a bad location for her to have chosen for people coming from different parts of the Bay Area. this seems kind of ideal to me. So I understand that like there may be some kinks to work out between making these two businesses compatible, but it doesn't seem like insurmountable problems from where I'm coming from. And I think if all parties involved are willing to compromise and keep an open line of communication, this seems like a very achievable partnership. And that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Next, we're gonna do Robert.
Okay, thank you. So I would echo Tim's comments on, Mary, you've obviously had a lot of folks coming as character witness for you, and I congratulate you on the friend network and family network of people that came out and supported you with this. It speaks to your the type of person that you are. So I don't question that at all. And this isn't about your background or training or whether there's a need in the market. It's really more a question about, is this business a good fit for this building and the use in this building and what's going on around it? And so, and the plans that you have. And so that I'm bringing up, as a neighbor of 13 years, what my experience has been being there and working there, and what kind of impact I could foresee happening. So there's there's definitely the sound that we talked about, the noise, because we're very close and there's a thin wall in between the two of us. So the other is that, and I was wondering whether I could share a picture, because I took a picture of the front. I just wanted to share that image. Is that possible?
Not in this setting for this kind of a system of webinar, unfortunately.
Well, it's okay. So I'll just describe it. But so there's where this gated area is going to be, where the dogs go to the bathroom, is literally right next to the marquee of the whole building. And the marquee of the building, if you go to any building, the marquee is where people have their names for their businesses. It's like, okay, it's what you pull up and you see on the corner. And the idea of putting like the dog bathroom area really right up against that, I don't see how that would make sense in any business or any situation, regardless of the type of business is in there. It's just really kind of a bad idea, the optics of it. And so that's my opinion on that. I think that there could be a much better, if there's a place where you have to take the dogs, why would you put it like right next to the marquee where everybody has their business name? And it's also right next to where people walk into the business. So I think that's a terrible idea. I don't know why that location was picked for that.
May I respond to that specific question? And then you can continue.
Okay.
So one of the things that I intend to do is teach puppy classes, and young puppies cannot hold it for very long. I wanted the potty area to be a flat area where we aren't going to see puppies tumbling over themselves, and where it would be very quick from the front door to the potty area for puppies that are specifically either young enough that they are not fully vaccinated and should not be walking for very far in public spaces for their own health, not for the health of the people necessarily, but for the puppy's health. And also so that it is a quick and easy place for puppies that are going through house training. So it needed to be very close to the front door. And my intention of putting it behind the sign is that the sign will largely obscure it from view. There is a sign and there is a tree right next to the sign, the tree that partially obscures the sign itself, but putting it behind the sign and then having it fully fenced. And I'm not talking about a chain link fence. I am talking about a solid wood fence that completely obscures the inside of it, that is no more than 4 feet high, so it wouldn't be much taller than the sign itself, and would but would be tall enough to obscure most of the dogs inside while they are using the facilities, as it were. So that was the intention of the location, is that it is flat, it is near the front door, it is behind a sign and a tree, so that it is not as visible from the sidewalk or from the roads when driving past. And it is, I'm intending to use redwood, like the facade of the building is lined with redwood, so that it will blend somewhat with the facility itself, especially as the wood ages. I hope that answers your question, and you can.
I appreciate that. I actually looked, because this is, both of our offices are right there. And so this is right next to the entrance to my office too. And if it's 6 foot by 6 foot, there's, it will be adjacent to the sign. It will be adjacent to the marquee. It won't be behind the marquee because of where the marquee is. That's why I took a picture. So, but you can't see the picture, but I for sure, I looked at the dimensions, and it's going to be right adjacent to it, right next to it. So I just think that I understand your reasons for wanting to have the location where it is, for all the reasons you just said. I just think that it happens to be right next to the marquee for the building. And for those people that have businesses in that building, it's just a bad look. The optics of having a dog waste area right next to it, adjacent to it. Maybe the landlord should move that whole thing closer to the street where they're not next to each other. But so that's the one issue. And then the other, the reason I wanted to show a picture too is because the building is, not only we need to share same common wall, but the roof is a flat roof, and there's not much airspace in there above the tiled ceiling. And so any air that is that we share all the same air, basically all the tenants. And so if something's going on in one location where they're using any kind of cleaners or solvents or spray painting or anything like that, it comes right into your space. And it's happened multiple times where we had to really chase down, where is this coming from? And it's kind of a unworkable situation, unworkable environment. If any of you have been around people that are sensitive to smells like that, I know, having spent time in the operating room, you can't wear any colognes. People are very sensitive to that. And so that's the kind of environment that we're in, which is this limited space. And so that is a concern. Just the cleaning agents and any kind of smells that are coming from either in the building or just outside, right at that, the waste area, which is right outside our door too. So I wish you the best with your business. I want you to be successful. Is there a need in the market in Santa Fe? For sure. I grew up in Santa Fe. I'm a community member of a long time, and I wish the best for this city and want there to be thriving businesses. It's what I'm trying to do here as well. My question is really, is this having a dog training facility in this building the best use? And that's my concern, is that I think the landlord probably should have, said, well, this isn't the kind of business that fits with this building, but I think he probably just wants to rent it and get it, so it's not vacant. And so that's what brings us here today. So I appreciate your time and hearing our concerns. And thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. And next, it looks like we're gonna have Patrick.
Hi, my name is Patrick Crossan, and I've known Mary since 2017. I'm not going to speak to or address the need for the type of business that Mary wants to open at 41 Sims, because enough people have done that. I do think, knowing Mary, and knowing her in a business relationship capacity, I know what kind of business person she is, and she would definitely make a great neighbor or tenant. I'm thinking that, one consideration is that Newmark did their due diligence and determined that the type of business Mary wants to open is appropriate for the building, and that she is a qualified tenant. So the landlord thinks that this type of business and Mary as a tenant are right for the building. The neighbor, Newgen, has a couple of concerns, which I think are valid, that it sounds like are being addressed by Mary. One is the concern about odors, smells. Every office has some type of maintenance or cleaning, and it's not a big deal. I mean, everybody has a cleaning service, or and the products that they use, I'm sure, would be odorless. So the dogs certainly aren't going to smell. You're not going to have 4 dogs in an office creating odors that are going to waft over into another space. I mean, that doesn't make sense. I know one of the businesses in that building, they do upholstery. So I'm sure that there are chemicals being used for the reupholstering that they're doing. I'm not sure how many years they've been in the building. But and Mary's addressing the area where the dogs and puppies need to go out and eliminate. So I think she's really trying to be a good neighbor to be. I do wonder, pardon me. So I do wonder, though, and I think it would be great for Mary to address this because Kimberly brought it up, and that is that Mary has said, apparently, and I would like Mary to speak on this, that she will be operating on Tuesdays and Sundays. If that is the case, then what is the big deal? Then you're talking about one business day, limited hours, that you're going to be sharing the same building space. It just doesn't seem reasonable that Newgen is so concerned over such a limited amount of hours for providing services. So Mary, is that actually a fact that you're going to operate on Tuesdays and Sundays only? And that's really hard to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick.
Mhm.
Yeah, to answer that question, that is my current plan, is to cut my 20 private lessons at clients' homes, which I currently do, down to 14 private lessons done in homes, take the 6 lessons that I currently have in the afternoons between the hours of 1 and 6:30 on Sundays and Tuesdays, and turn those into 8 4-dog group classes at the facility. So 4 on Sunday afternoons, 4 on Tuesday afternoons. This facility is sort of a proof of concept situation. I've signed a 3-year lease with the intent to expand, and I hope to eventually teach seminars teaching that maybe don't include having dogs, but include using the facility to have dog trainers to be able to come together for a seminar or presentation, to include dog walkers so that they can learn how to properly hold a leash, how to use certain facilities. Marin Humane has pet first aid classes that just include dummies of animals that book up immediately, constantly, and I would love to be able to house things like that, that's pet related seminars that are not just for dogs. But currently, most of my clients want the private lessons, and when they graduate from private lessons, they want group classes, or they're people who just got a puppy and they have no idea what they're doing and they want a puppy class to help them through the basics. And for that, having the 2 afternoons a week will be enough for me and for most of my clients. Can I guarantee that's the only times that I'm ever going to have dogs in the building? That is something to be discovered with time. I've done a private lesson plan for the last, several years, the last 6 years of my business. Who knows how or where it will evolve, or what the demand will be in the future. My business is designed to evolve with demand. But I do not foresee myself ever completely annihilating the private lessons, because the shy and fearful dogs who are not ready for group classes are my heart and soul, and that is where I like to exert most of my efforts. So that is the current plan, and hopefully with time it will hopefully with time, if there is more need, then that can be addressed and discussed. And I'm willing to address and discuss with the neighbors in the buildings. But yeah, I hope that answered your question efficiently. You still there, Patrick?
Oh, yes, it did answer my question. Thank you. And yeah, and that's really all I wanted to say. And but best of luck in this situation.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Jean, you'll be next.
Thank you. I have taken a lot in from everybody, and I appreciate and echo all the great things that people have said about Mary and about her business skills and her dog training skills. I've known Mary for 8+ years. She came to us when I was desperate for a dog trainer, when we had a puppy that was completely out of control. And she has helped us keep 3 dogs that we probably would not have been able to keep, just because they were rescues that were so out of control as rescue dogs. And she's patiently worked with us on all of those. And through that, I've seen her grow her business and mature as a business owner and as a person into someone who I am very confident would be a great business owner of a training facility and a great neighbor. And my background is someone who did debt restructures and workouts of large companies who got in trouble. So I would not be recommending Mary to own a business in San Rafael or anywhere, or be someone's neighbor in a business, if I did not have the confidence that I think that they could really do it. I think a lot of great questions have been asked and answered. There's a few objections to Mary having the business at 41 Sims. And one of them I'm a little bit unclear of. It sounds like the landlord has agreed to have Mary have the business there, but is there a tenant right of refusal, or is the tenant just objecting to it? But I would be surprised if there's a tenant right of refusal. As far as the dog bathroom area by the front of the business or by the marquee area, I was thinking about the places I go regularly, like the vet, the emergency room vet, and Marin Humane. And all of those have areas for the dogs to relieve themselves right when you arrive at the building. Pretty much for the reasons that Mary said. Dogs, you know, being in a car might need to get out and relieve themselves. And I don't see that as a negative. I see it as a positive and good thinking on Mary's part. Whether the marquee gets moved or not may relieve some concerns. It sounds like in all those places, the substrata and the use of ivy or something else to take care of where the dog uses the restroom area makes it so that there's no smell, there's no, you know, there's no massive flies or anything. It's very clean and it's neat, and it's never been off-putting or an issue. The other one was the comment about sharing the common air ventilation above the air vents above the building. And I've been to that building, to that upholsterer, and I know that there are a lot of glues and materials and odors there. I get really bad migraines from scents. And so I can't imagine that cleaning products to clean up after a dog, which usually are very organic and good because dogs can't ingest much, would add any more than that upholsterer is adding to it. So I wouldn't think there'd be particulates there. And then lastly, even if you do have clients coming into that building at the same time as puppies are going in or out, most people, I think puppies are kind of cute. And if you do medical equipment, there's a lot of therapy dogs that are in hospitals and that come around to hospital wards that are really liked by almost everyone. So the presence of dogs, I mean, some people, I guess, have been bitten by a dog or afraid of dogs, but for the most part, I don't know. I had therapy dogs. I mean, I owned dogs that were therapy dogs, and I took them to hospitals and nursing homes and people who were bereaved, and everyone really lit up. It was fabulous to have a therapy dog. So I view the presence of dogs in situations as a very positive thing. And I would think that many of your clients would also view it that way, you know, even as they're just walking into your building for a business meeting. But that's all I wanted to add. I think that, you know, Mary's not going to have aggressive dogs there. She's not going to have a dog that's going to be worrisome. And a cute puppy can really only add value to the look of any building, I think. So that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so it looks like we have 3 more people who have not spoken yet. So next is going to be Michael.
Hi there. Everyone can hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. So hello, I'm Michael Stomp. I'm Mary's brother, younger brother by almost 3 years. A lot of people have spoken to Mary's character. You know, everyone's on the same page there. Mary's an amazing person. Mary's an amazing businesswoman. Mary's amazing with humans and animals. I also know from having lived with her for 18 years that she's an amazing neighbor as well. She shared room space with me just fine. She shared a wall with me just fine. All of that is great. But again, that's been said. I am looking on my phone right now, actually, at the Google Street Maps view of the marquee for 41 Sims Street, and I gotta say that looks like exactly the type of place that dogs are going to use the bathroom, whether they're just walking down the street or not. So if it were me and I was looking to have a business around there, I would think I'd much rather have someone who's guaranteed going to clean up the messes in the bathrooms that are going to be happening on that ivy and grass from clients. I would rather have that than have that space unregulated and having a bunch of just mess from dogs that are just passing by on walks. I agree that the marquee could probably be moved forward significantly, which would be great for, you're already going to be adjusting it to put in Mary's Angels dog training as one of the signs on it. So you're already over there fixing it up. Might as well move it forward a few feet. Outside of that, I also wanted to kind of express a relatively recent story of what I have experienced. I was off and with my mom walking our dogs just the other day, and we saw a woman who had her dog off leash, and whether she didn't care that it was a law to not have her dog off leash or whether she didn't know, she didn't have her dog on leash, and it got into an altercation with our dogs. Luckily, none of them needed any hospitalization or anything, and didn't look like much blood was drawn from them, but there was certainly cuts on her hands and fingers from trying to get our dogs safely away from the aggressive dog. So I think, honestly, it's a community safety thing. It's not just a, two businesses worrying. This is a community safety risk that we have of uneducated dog owners and untrained dogs out in the community. And if we can help address that by having another business here, then that's awesome. The point was also brought up that, is this the right place for it? And I think that yes, it is. Again, just from looking at it, it looks absolutely like a wonderful place for a dog training business. And on top of that, I was with Mary and Claire when they were going out and shopping around and looking at other places. And there's really not a ton out there where, it's tough to keep a business alive around here. It's tough to find places to live, find places to work. It's something that is, not an easy thing to do. So when we find something like this, we've got to try and fight for it and hold on to it. I think that this is a great spot for it. And then as for the appearance of seeing other dogs, I frequent Gamescape North down in San Rafael almost every other weekend. And I've been going there since probably 2015, 2016. I couldn't tell you for the life of me what businesses are on either side of that store. I know that when I'm going somewhere, Gamescape North, a grocery store, Target, whatever it is, we're in a modern age where we're looking at our GPSs, we're looking at our phones, we're trying to see that. We're not looking around at all these other stores and trying to see, what's right next to it. And that's not going to have any opinion change for a person like me who's there to get their business done. So I'm not going to pay attention to the fact that there's a dog training place or a dress shop or a whatever else, a restaurant next door, as I'm just going to where I need to do my business. We don't have time, most people don't have time to go around and shop and look and think about all of that. They're trying to get to where they need to be and get their business done. So I think that that's something that hopefully will be able to be understood as not really a problem. And yes, I appreciate you all taking your time. I know it's already late in the night, so I will end there, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Next is Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
So I've known Mary for a few years, not a very long time. And a lot of people have spoken to her personally, whether the business is needed in the city, issues as that. So I'm not going to speak to that. I will say I am a director of operations for a multi-location business in the South Bay. We have locations in over 6 different areas, ranging from high-end areas like Palo Alto to Los Gatos to Campbell. And I have to say, a lot of times dealing with owners, landlords, property managers, fellow tenants, even residents, I, as someone who works with these people, would count myself very lucky to have a tenant like Mary, someone that I know has such high integrity, someone that I know would be committed to abiding by any rules or regulations set forth by the landlord, by agreements with fellow tenants. Um, and hearing things brought up, issues such as airflow in terms of if the business is the right image for the building. A lot of things sound, there's a big difference between personal preference and between what is appropriate for an area. And I think that things like airflow, talking about cleanliness, things like that, these are issues that are going to arise with any tenant, whether that's a medical office, whether that's a restaurant, whether that's a dog training facility, whether that's an interior designer, a photographer. There's always going to be something that comes up. And those are issues that you bring up with your landlord if and when they come up. It's very easy to say, well, this might happen, this could happen. Unfortunately, in this type of business, there's no way to anticipate what's going to happen. But I can guarantee you, with someone like Mary, you will have someone who is responsible, someone who is a fantastic neighbor to have, and someone who I would personally love to have next to my businesses, because I know she would not only make them better, but bring more people to my businesses. And I think this building and these tenants should count themselves lucky that she wants to be there. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like lastly, for public comment, we have Susan.
Thank you. I've known Mary her whole life, and I've been listening to the comments that have been made, and my feeling is that this is a perception issue more than anything. I appreciate the investigation that Michelle did on the neighborhood. I now know right where it is. There's also, I haven't been there in a couple of years, but there used to be a bus storage right down the street. So particulate issues are really an issue. It's not really a good place if you're concerned about particulate matter, because there's a lot generated around there between the highways. And but Mary is an extremely conscientious person, and I think that her demeanor is positive, and her conscientious nature is easy to work with. So it appears that perception is the major problem, and that can be addressed in a variety of ways. And I'm sure that Mary would be happy to help with anything that would help the perception, and certainly the neighboring business that feels there's a perception issue could assist in providing some buffer between the two businesses if that's necessary. But I think everybody should have the greatest confidence in Mary's ability to operate this business, continue to operate this business in a very conscientious way, where people will not be objecting once it's in operation. So I would support her establishment of her business at this site, and work on the perception issues, because I don't think there's any real issues that are involved. And if there are, if the cleaning materials that are used on Mary's side of the wall are bothering, I'm sure they can be addressed and found to find something compatible, and vice versa. Because dogs can be sensitive to odors and issues, and if the neighbor is using too strong chemicals that disrupt the air in the dog training facility, that can be addressed too. So I strongly support her receiving the support that she needs from the city of San Rafael for this business at this site. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like 2 more minutes, if that's possible.
Yeah, and then
If you finished with all of them.
yeah,
So
you can go ahead and then Kimberly, we'll have Kimberly go next.
I've owned and operated a licensed dog boarding business in my home for almost 10 years. Sometimes there are 4 or 5 dogs. That's not my ideal to have that many, but at holiday time and other times of busy summer vacation time, I do have multiple dogs. And I can assure you that my house does not smell. Where the dogs go out to potty every couple of hours in my front yard, it doesn't smell. I live in a subdivision down the street from Novato High School. It's an old subdivision. The houses are relatively close together. I've never gotten a complaint from any of my neighbors. So I don't really see the environmental or impact of having a dog business next door to really be pertinent. As I said, I also volunteer at Marin Humane. Every Wednesday, I walk the adoptable dogs. During my shift in the morning from 8 to 11, the staff is cleaning the kennels where the dogs are housed. You never smell any of the cleaning materials. They, of course, are going to be totally non-toxic because that's where the dogs live before they're adopted. And there's never any odors, there's never any toxic materials used. It's, other than the fact the floor is wet, you would never know that there's anything going on as far as cleaning. So I wanted to address the concerns that have been brought up about smell, dog elimination area. I mean, my front yard is the dog elimination area in my home. And I've never had a problem with odors or complaints from anybody who live nearby me that, oh, this home and this yard smells awful. So I don't really think that's going to be a concern. My dogs stay with me while their family is away for 24/7. Mary's dogs are going to be there for a shorter period of time, only 2 days a week, one of which is a weekend when the business won't be operating. Thank you.
Kimberly?
Yeah, I just wanted to answer something that came up. This issue was not instigated by us in any way. This is a change of use hearing about the building itself, because it isn't, the terminology isn't zoned, which we discussed this morning. I forget what the terminology is. But no, we did not. It says, looks like you're done talking, so we'll lower your hand to 2 seconds. Sweet. Okay, so can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I had some weird thing come up there. So, and I understand and I appreciate everyone's feedback about our business and perceptions and so this isn't really about our business. We have medical device engineering products that are sustainable. We like dogs, we like Mary, we're good people. If we were out looking for rental spaces, we would not choose one next to a dog training facility. And when you talk about perception, money is paid for perception or public relations. We have board members that have invested millions. We have meetings. So do puppies bring goodwill? Do having dogs? Well, of course. But I'm trying to establish that we are a viable medical device company competing with Fortune 10 multi-billion-dollar companies that were large enough to supply the hospitals across the country. And I just want to be in a position that when people are walking up, you know, we're a medical device company. And I don't know, you know, I don't know how a dog training place would affect that. I mean, I haven't, you know, we just read about it, met Mary, I talked to my team. But this hearing was brought up because this building is not zoned for this. And I know, Mary, you said, or somebody said that you had gone out all together as a group looking for spaces. And believe me, we did 13 years ago, looking everywhere. I know spaces are hard to find. And we expanded within this space as well. And I don't have any doubts about what everybody has said about Mary. But the one thing that was brought up this morning, which we, you know, you said you might grow your business, or, you know, you have a 3-year lease. We would really not, you know, if you were going to say, because you've been saying all along, and then it just changed a little bit, that's your plan, is that it's Tuesday afternoons and Sunday afternoons. We would, you know, if this gets approved by the city, we would work around that and schedule meetings at different times, know that we wouldn't have board meetings or people coming in and out at those times. We certainly have plenty of work to do that doesn't involve those things. But we wouldn't want to be surprised in 6 months, it's going to 3 days. Oh, and it's really successful. So in a year, it's 5 days. Because this building use is not, the terminology is not zone. And I apologize for not knowing it right now. So that was my only thing. I really appreciate everybody on this call. And it's really wonderful, Mary, that you have such a great, supportive, loving community.
Thank you.
You know, I think that's wonderful. But this hearing is about, is this business appropriate for this building, which isn't permitted for this use? And what are our objections to that? So I appreciate everyone having listened to me as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So it looks like there's no further public comment. So now the public comment period is now closed. And now, so due to the abundance of feedback received during both of these meetings, at this time, we will look into this proposed use further and provide a final decision by the end of next week. We appreciate everyone's comments and thank you all for attending. If you would like to be notified of what is the final decision, I'm going to rename myself my email address, and feel free to email me and provide that you would like to be notified. Just want to make sure I type this right.
City of Santa Fe or just cities?
Oh, thank you.
Here.
Can't see that. Okay, so my name is now changed to my email address. It's michaela.o@cityofsantafe.org. So please take that down, email me, and let me know that you would like to be notified of the final decision of this conditional zoning administrator level use permit. And we will go from there. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for all the comments and all the feedback. And I hereby, as a zoning administrator, close this meeting. It is 8:25. Thank you all again. And don't forget to write down that email address if you want to be notified. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
You know, like. Now we have dinner.